It was bred and used to hate all things Catholic.
You got to see a black guy or a communist or a punk in the metro. He got beaten up and sometimes he got thrown out of the metro. When the metro was still driving, just opens the door, beats them up and throws them out of the metro.
I would have been the first in.
I got a little more serious though.
Well, it didn't dig. Yeah, that's 16 years for tracking terrorism. I led from the front. I was actually in with the troops on the ground in the battlefield.
More than 1,000 neo-Nazis attacked a house full of immigrants. They threw Molotov cocktails at the house, and the downstairs everything was burning, and the immigrants they fled to the roof. After that story, Rostock was a white town. We thought it's right. We thought we are cleaning up our area from all the trash, you know.
I was over 21, and when I was doing what I was doing, there was no stopping me.
Adair's reign of terror was finally curbed when he was sentenced to 16 years for directing terrorism. The loyalist godfather has never been tried for the 40 murders his gang are believed to have carried out. Meanwhile, in Germany, Nick planned to take his terror campaign to the next level.
I was preparing an act of terrorism. I made a pipe bomb with a timer, and we've been supposed to blow up a car. The one day before we could start the action, the special police, special task, how much they special task, they searched my house and the apartments of all my friends, and we all got arrested.
Nick was convicted for plotting acts of terror, but after just 2 years in prison, he was given parole.
I just disappeared. I thought, okay, my game in Germany is over, because I don't want to go to jail again. And I said, okay, just let's go to South Africa. They got the same struggle. It's white pride worldwide.
While on the run, Nick joined the white supremacist movement, dedicated to overthrowing the South African government. They planned to use acts of terror against black people to provoke a race war. Where did you learn to make the pipe bomb?
In South Africa, in a paramilitary training camp from the AWP.
And why did you go to South Africa?
To get a paramilitary education. That was the reason why I was the first time in South Africa.
Within weeks of Nick completing his training, the leaders of the racist group were arrested and charged with high treason. Nick was on the run again, and funded by the extremists, he headed for Angola. There he planned to buy weapons to rearm the white supremacists back in South Africa.
Angola is a good country. It's full of weapons, and we knew you can get AK-47. You can buy it for 7-8 euro.
We find weapons. That was from black people.
Yes.
How did you feel about that? How did you feel about that at the time?
It doesn't matter. We buy guns from the black people to kill them later. You know what I mean?
To buy illegal arms, Nick needed local intelligence, but getting it would spark a chain of events that would have dramatic consequences.
There was a black guy on the street. He was waving and he wanted a hike, you know, he wanted a hitchhike. And I said to my friend, stop the car. And my friend, he said, no, I will not stop here. They will rob us, they will kill us, and maybe he is going to do something. And I said, oh, don't shit in your pants. I told him we are two, and we will take this black guy, and if he want to start any trouble, we just...
On reaching town, the hitchhiker took them to a local bar.
And he got a sister working in the pub. I saw her the first time, and that was the most beautiful woman I ever saw in my life, and she was black. I couldn't believe. But it wasn't my idea to do something with her, to get into a relationship or whatever. So after that evening I was just confused in my head, and I thought, okay, I would never do something with a black girl, but why should I not go again to this pub? And the next evening I did go again to the pub to drink a beer, to talk to her. Yeah, and the day later the same. And one day I couldn't hear my own Nazi music anymore, this white power nigger. I just couldn't hear it anymore, you know, I didn't want to hear it anymore. And my friends, my white friends, when they came to me and did ask me, oh, let's enjoy some beer and we are doing a hunting some niggers, or let's do something. I said, no, I have no time, I have to do some paperwork at home, and I just try to stay away.
Nick spent several months with the family and even claims to have adopted a child. But fearing reprisals from the white extremists, he was forced to return to Germany, where he was promptly thrown back into prison. Nick's experience in Africa seemed to rock his Nazi convictions. From prison, he looked for inspiration and found it in Johnny Mad Dog Adair.
UFF leader Johnny Adair is back in prison, accused of directing acts of terrorism, membership of a banned organisation, money laundering, acquiring, having and distributing weapons. And he's accused of involvement in a drugs empire involving vast amounts of money.
Nick became infatuated with the former terrorist, and over time he switched his allegiance from Hitler to Mad Dog. But Adair had been sidelined, and on his release from prison he was forced out of the limelight and into exile.
Live from the Sky News Centre, this is...
The peace process in Northern Ireland moved on without him. Old enemies put aside their differences and started talking.
Here in Belfast, ladies and gentlemen, on this day we marked the historic beginning of a new era for Northern Ireland.
From his exile in Scotland, Adair accepts that times have changed.
My war's over, and the class conflict in Northern Ireland's over. The IRA has gone away, they've decommissioned all their weapons, so I believe that all loyalists who hold weapons should indeed decommission them.
Excluded, though, from the climax of the peace process, Adair tries to elbow himself back into the limelight and offers up some weaponry he still controls.
C Company was what the SAS is, the British Army. C Company was that to the UDA as a whole. C Company was the best equipped, the best everything. The most, and that's because of the leader that they had. Johnny Adair holds a lot of respect, and people would obviously listen to him.
Adair believes that in return for immunity, he could also persuade others to hand over their weapons.
Obviously there's paramilitaries and indeed ex-paramilitaries who are there and who I believe that may have access to weapons.
But his overtures were snubbed, and he was sent a blunt message to simply hand over the guns to the local police.
Could you picture Johnny Adair walking around the police station with 2 bags of illegal weapons? That will tell you what would happen there. Johnny Adair would be, they are what I said, illegal weapons. Johnny Adair would be charged with having illegal weapons. The harm was put out, but it wasn't shaken.
Humiliated by the rebuff, Adair slinks back into the shadows. If his former colleagues hear he is attempting to hand over their weapons, they will redouble their efforts to silence him by any means possible. And it's not long before one of Adair's close associates hears that there is a contract out on him.
I've just heard of someone in this town that was asked to kill Johnny. He told me himself he was willing to do it. We've got to defend ourselves. They're terrorising, we defend. If they're going to bring it on to us, obviously, if we can, we put it on to them.
Ever since he was forced out of Belfast, Adair has been vulnerable to attack. Even his wife and children have been targeted.
The family of the loyalist paramilitary leader, the notorious Johnny Adair, have been living in a safe house in Horwich. In April, it was peppered with gunfire from a passing car.
Nick felt it his duty to come to England. He spent